In the last module, we have discussed about how the consumers can exercise their sovereignty and consumer citizenship in speaking about certain rights which are fundamental rights as a citizens of that country, which are maybe beyond their own self interest and thinking of others to see how their society to function like, and in their choices for the products that they have chosen, and the power that it exercises on the organization through its power of ethical consumption may lead to connect it with the exercising of corporate citizenship by the organization, as we discussed in the last modules, where the organization becomes a mechanism of translating these consumer citizenship, where they are exercising their political power through channelizing it in and bringing in major social changes in terms of influencing the government to do some positive policies, establish certain regulations, involving the civil society organizations also to work for the purposes greater cause of the society. So this is where the consumers are exercising their citizenship power and getting it linked with the role of the corporate also as corporate citizenship power, and together they are functioning for a greater social cause and upliftment of the standards and living conditions of the citizens at large. So from there, from this with this basic step, we will move forward to the discussion of sustainable consumption, where we will be focusing on the triple bottom line of the economic, the environmental and the social causes, and try to find out how it understand the concept of sustainable consumption and try to see its impact on all these three pillars that it is there. So when you're talking of sustainable consumption, the definition is the use of goods and services that responds to the basic needs and bring a better quality of life. So this is where we are taking care of the people issues, social issues, while minimizing the use of natural resources, toxic materials, where so this is where we are again taking care of the economic perspective of it, because if there is a less wastage, there is more saving and value addition. And the toxic materials and emission of waste and pollutants over the life cycle. So that is how we are taking care of the environment and the depletion and the pollution aspects of the environment and the resources, and so that not to jeopardize the needs of the future generation. So we have to keep a balance between what we are trying to demand as a part of our basic needs and better quality of life now, the use and goods and services for responding to these basic qualities of goods and services, basic needs, and then also with a minimized use of natural resources and toxic materials and emission of waste and pollutants, so that the environment doesn't get affected by it, and there is a economic side of implication of it also when you're talking of minimizing of the waste, and together, so that when you're taking care of these concerns together, we are also taking care, like trying to reserve something, save something for answering the needs of the future generation, so that this cycle may continue, like the future generation also may use the goods and services to respond to their basic needs and to live, to bring a betterment in their quality of life. So, the challenges of sustainable consumption is that it imposes limits to certain things and it promotes certain behavior. So, if we are looking from the Protestant ethic perspective, so it imposes a limit to consumption, and then it promotes investment in productive capacity. If you are looking from the consumerism ethic, so it imposes limit to saving and it promotes instant gratification and consumption. So, if you are looking from the environmental ethic perspective, then again it imposes limit to consumption and it promotes alternative meaning of growth and investment in the environment. So, when we are talking of the challenge of sustainable consumption, so we have to take care, we have to understand which of these three ethical maybe parameters we have, which is the one that we are giving more prominence to. So, and which is because when you are talking of Protestant ethic, and which it talks of guided by the facts it is limits to consumption and it investment in productive capacity. But again, when you are moving towards a world which is moving towards more type of a secular type of world, so is it okay, can we follow it, and reducing the consumption is to what extent could be a question over here. So, and can we just expect someone to have reduced the consumption instantaneously and invest in more productive capacity? So, or again, when the environmental ethic it talks of consumption, limits to consumption, so is it possible in a day to do it, or it requires it should be having more time to it, and it should be happening gradually, and then what we think it a gradual change which needs to happen, and then it is not something that it's a practice which needs to be nurtured. And that's why, according to this concept, we are more, when you're talking of the environmental ethics part, this theory, this alternative gets more prominence when we are talking of sustainable consumption, because we are here focusing more on the alternative means of growth and investment and in the environment and still remain profitable. So, this is where it is gaining more prominence and is the view which can be used for sustainable consumption. So, what could be the steps towards sustainable consumption is that producing environmentally responsible products, less of using less of toxic materials or producing less wastages. So, because we are guided more by this concept of like environmental ethic, which is guiding our alternative means of growth and investment. So when you're talking of sustainable consumptions, the first point we are talking of is producing environmentally responsible products, which is taking care of reducing the waste, less of depletion of the resources and less of pollution. We are talking of product recapture, so which we will explain in the next slide. So the maybe the like what you get is maybe waste of one firm becomes the input for the other firm also. Service replacement for products like selling mobility rather than cars, or leasing of photocopiers. So instead of selling the product, you are selling the services, and that's how there is less of introduction of like more waste into the environment. Product sharing, like car sharing, washing machine, pooling, all these type of things which are going to save energy, reduce waste, and more toxic materials waste, so and take care of the environment. These type of things are being promoted. Reducing demand, like sort of forcing people to reduce the demand, like reduction or ban on free plastic bags, or polluter pays principle to ensure financial incentive for lower consumption. So different ways of thinking, so that the it is your demands and needs are met also, and it is not that you are curbing your consumption, but you are consuming in a responsible way, taking care of the environment, and as a result, it's because you are taking care of the environment and you are saving on the wastages and resources, then maybe you are economically you are adding value also, and that's how you remain sustainable. So when you're talking of product recapture, we are actually moving from a linear to a circular flow of resources. The linear flow is like extraction, then it's manufacture, then it's distribution, then consumption, and then maybe disposal. When you are talking of a circular view of resources, so it's extraction, then manufacture, it's distribution, consumption, and then maybe disposal. But these product again gets recaptured by the manufacturer, so and then it gets again distributed across this like this cycle, then moves on. So this has become a major part of now concern, and also a major part of activity of how to recapture the products, and so and how it can be recycled again to manufacture this and distribute, consumption and recapture, and how to take care of proper disposal. So these have become like important focus of for the manufacturers now. And what is the these are challenges which you call of like back supply chain, which starts from how you collect the products from the consumers, or how you like move it back to the warehouses and then get it like recycled in a proper way or disposed in a proper way, is again a challenge. And this has taken up, and it has given rise to again new ways of looking at the problem. so that it is leading to a sustainable consumption. And disposal management, waste management, recycled products, goods and services. So this has become again a business opportunity in itself. So this, if you are looking into the sustainable consumption, this, when you are talking of this circular way of flow of resources, this part, like after this consumption, maybe the disposal and product recapture, it has given birth to a new industry in itself, and new innovative way of marketing and maybe extraction, manufacture, distribution, where and consumption, where from the waste itself, from the recycled products itself, how you can use them again for developing certain maybe things of aesthetic value, which has its own value, economic value, and it gets again cycled as a in the production cycle through the flow of resources. So this has become another way, another given an impetus for the development of a whole new industry which takes care of these issues, and in a joint effort followed together, and following this whole chain, it leads to a sustainable consumption, and in terms of sustainable business practices and sustainable consumption, in maintaining a balance between these all these three triple bottom line phenomena. So this together will help in the, it talks of like a joint responsibility also between again the use of the product in a responsible way, disposing of the products also in a responsible way, and it depends on the manufacturer's responsibility also to think of how to use this in a better way. So it requires a lot of innovation, creative thinking to think of how it can be reused and how this can be taken care of in a certain way. So there is minimization of the waste and the harm, and there is saving of the resources. If together this is done, it will lead to a sustainable consumption. So in summary, in this discussion, what we have discussed about, like some of the specific rights of the consumers, so like rights of safe products, honest and truthful communication, fair prices, fair treatment, privacy, and we have also focused towards the rise of ethical consumption, and we have focused to the challenges of sustainability. And we can summarize that in the consumer society that we currently live in, it appears like the consumers are responsible also, not only for exercising certain of their rights, but they are responsible also for shouldering more and more responsibilities, so that there is a mutual responsibility, shared rights and rights and duties, shared mutual rights and duties shared by the consumers and the manufacturers or the sellers, and together they look forward towards the sustainability and the sustainable consumption, and together they survive and keep some survive in the and lead to the fulfillment of their needs, which the firms produces for them or sells to them, while also thinking of the needs of the future generation and keeping something in reserve from them, so that the future generation are not deprived of these products and services or the resources they to get the products and services done as per their needs and expectations, which the future generation may think like. Thank you.